hopefully you can all see me. Now tell me whether, at the moment, I'm not this here. I've got my t-shirt on again, all right? So I'm walking around Devon. Go on, Trump. No one earning less than 200,000 a year is going to pay tax in the United States of America. That's basically what he's saying, right? And it's because it's been enabled by the tariffs. Not quite sure how this is coming out. I'm trying to make sure that you can sort of see my alignment. I'm still filling out my shelves. I've still got to go and empty my car out. Every time, oh, the thing for the roof is turned up, right? I don't really want to pick it up and try and show you it, but got big heavy weights to go on the bottom of it, and it just sits. It's got all like rubbers on the inside of it, and it's like an angled frame. It just sits like that on top of the roof, and it's designed that if you move, you take it with you. You just drop it on the roof. Not drop it, but you know what I mean. There you go, people. Don't forget, give me a 5B5. Give me a massive 5B5 because I've missed you all today. I was sitting here. Oh, have a look at me barnet, look. Right. Louise sorted me right out. Not like that. Alright. She's only young. Don't know how old she is. I'll have to inquire. They got a booking system for the barbers. So I went up there yesterday and said, can I have an haircut? There was no one in there. She went, yeah, you have to book. There's no one in there. She went, no, but someone's about to come in. I went, oh, okay, if that's the way you do it. And she went, yeah, it's easy. She said, I'll send you a message. She went, bang, 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 and he's on this booking system. And then booked me in. And at 2 o'clock, I'm going to get some haircut. So I'm walking up the hill towards the barbers. And that's the deal. I see the DHL van coming along, right? Would you Adam and Eve it that they've actually delivered, right, this kit exactly when I'm walking up the hill going to the barbers, right? I'm like, oh. So I've had to walk all the way back down again. Not that it's a major problem, but I've got to go and get my hair cut, right? So he's come along and he's given me 2 big boxes. But as I get rid of boxes and keep cutting them up and then putting them in little black bin liners, right? Other boxes turn up, and then, you know, like in Amazon, you have to just cut them all up and put them in everywhere. So now I've got to sort my life out. But anyway, I just thought I'd let you know I've had my haircut and I'm rocking and rolling. It's quite funny in the barbers as well. She's got a picture of Elvis Presley getting his haircut. I said, don't tell me you've got his hair. I said, I ain't having that. That's a lie, that. And she went, no, it's just a picture on the wall. I said, oh, right. It was quite funny. Well, funny to me anyway. Old King Cole. Or Nat King Cole. I like all them old songs, funny enough. In fact, I might even start playing some of my old songs. Music is good. So tell me if it's better, if you can see that you can see above there now with the English on it. Otherwise, I'll have to redesign it again. Or you think it's better like that. Tell me how you think it's better. Or do you think I need to reposition the English like it was on the other side so everyone can see it? This isn't a real camera. This is just a laptop, right? So I'm still waiting for them cheeky bastards to send me my refund. And I've said, if you ain't paid me by tomorrow, I'm going to start the court process, and you're going to get charged for it, right? So they've had plenty of time to send my money back. They said if I hadn't have cancelled the direct debit, they would have paid me immediately. What a load of bollocks. I said, there's the account details. You know what they are. Just put the fucking chip through and pay it. They still ain't done it. So there will be a court challenge to, is it Over Energy? Over Energy for unjust enrichment, for overcharging me for the best part of 8 years, right? Absolute fucking liberty. No wonder people are screaming up they can't afford anything, right? It's a lot of money, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, it's just you set your direct debits up. although you get emailed certain things, but when you contact them, I did contact them twice and said, what's all this credit about, right? Just give me the money back. Oh, no, we can't do that because you're not on a smart meter. That's what they said to me. So I'm going to go back. By the way, people, everyone's seeing and hearing me. Give me a 5-5. Second thing I'm going to say to you, and this is really important, hit the like button, hit the share button, and massively subscribe, right? Because we need to start building this knowledge up and getting it out there to people, which is what we're about to do, right? Good evening, Neil 56, Llewellyn, Chuck Money. Let's have a look to see anyone else is that. Ancient English. John Godley. I love that middle name. Harding, how are you doing, son? Merlin, how you doing? About time I popped up and see you two again. We can go around and have a look at the. We can do was it last of the summer wine thing again? It's fucking, that was excellent, driving around all around them old places as well, and having a beer up there. Stacey at 414. Hello, D. Oh, is that the Stacey? Right. You're not on speaker there, are you? Right. Hey, Stacey's my favourite. Right. There you go. Susan Riley is out there. Don One. Everyone listening and getting into this. Listen, I have seen, I'm not even sure if I can share this, but my laptop is making some very serious things going on here. I need to be able to share this. This come out, I mean, I only see it when Andy the Gabby Cabby sent it out today, right? And I haven't seen. Remember saying, hopefully you're going to be able to hear this. I don't know if you will be able to hear it. I'm going to try and share this with you. You know what I'm like? This is a laptop. This ain't my normal setup, right? Let me also share tab audio. You're going to have to tell me if you can hear this and see it, right? Here goes. Listen to this, but it looks like Sarah Puchin says she supports digital ID. I'll bet most Reform voters disagree with her. Do you agree with her, right? So there it is. And don't forget, I'm challenging her election, right? So here goes, listen to this.
What do you feel about ID cards, digital ID cards? Is that something that Reform UK would support?
Well, look, I personally don't have a problem with an ID card. You know, I don't see what the issue is. Most of our ID, most of our information now is on our smartphones anyway.
Can we trust the system, though?
Well, what more? How much more could we be at risk? As I say, all of our information is out there in a cloud, in the ether, whatever you want to call it. It's all available, isn't it? We can all be tracked now if somebody wants to track us.
What do you feel about ID cards, digital ID cards? Is that something that Reform UK would support?
Well, look, I personally don't have a problem with an ID card. You know, I don't see what the issue is. Most of our ID, most of our information now is on our smartphones anyway.
Can we trust the system, though?
Well, what more? How much more could we be at risk? As I say, all of our information is out there in a cloud, in the ether, whatever you want to call it. It's all available, isn't it? We can all be tracked now if somebody wants to track us.
What do you feel about ID cards?
So I'm going to stop sharing that. I'm going to go back to this. Let's see if I can get back. Did you all see that and hear it, by the way? So let me have a look at the audience. Did you all see and hear that? Could you actually hear it? Chuck Money, you're a classic, son. You're a classic. Chuck Money says, let me have a look and read it out. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pin that. It's such a good comment, right? I love Chuck Money. He comes out with the classics. So Chuck Money says, stupid cow believes one risk is better than another, and that's an MP. Exactly. What happens to your rights to privacy, right? Do you need me to get that out and show you in here, right? Members of Parliament are there to protect you, right? To protect the constituents. They're not there to support the state. But because you was a 20-year nodding dog, right, as a magistrate, oh yes, let's lock him up. Oh, Yes. Just tick all the boxes. Yes. Let's send him down. Right. That's all she used to do. Right. And I've got to tell you something. She weren't that well liked in Runcorn and Hillsby. Right. Everyone else had a chance at that election. Right. And there was some serious skullduggery going on. So I'll just let you. That's what Chuck Money thinks. Right. So let's unpin that one. Well done, Chuck Money. Fantastic comment. Right. ECP membership link. Oh, yeah, don't forget that. So there it is. I'm English, not British. Well done from Coventry. Yorkshire Militia. Hello, Yorkshire Militia. How you doing, son? Green Baker. She has no idea. She's got all the gear and no idea. That's about it. Miranda just loves her. I bet. Yeah, Miranda. Well done. Neil 56, that went. Let's have a look. Right? Did you all hear that all right? Or did it? Because I plugged these in halfway through, so it might have changed slightly. But long as you all understand what's going on. Now, what you've really got to do, if I get back to that particular thing, you all need to email, or not email, you need to send on Twitter, right, to Sarah Pouchin. Let me go and find her again and see if I can bring it up, right? Not that I get involved with these people, right? But let me see if I can do this. You need to, let me see if I can find her. Don't forget, be polite. Just say, what happened to our right to privacy, right? And again, she is proving, so what they're trying to do is use the immigration stuff. That's exactly what Farage and them lot are intending to do, to absolutely contain us, the working class, with digital ID, right? We will be completely crushed. The only people that be able to earn a pound note in the world will be the hierarchy or the ruling elite, of which Sarah Pouchin is one, right? And let me tell you something, she's no different to the Labour candidates. She's no different to the Tory candidates. Labour and Tory and Reform are exactly the same group of uni-party people, right? And it's shameful that Ben Habib is the same, right? Rupert Lowe is very close to all of them, and I don't trust them as far as I can throw them, right? Let me see if I can actually find her. Let's have a look. How do you spell her name? I'm sure it was with a U, wasn't it? Let's have a look. Sarah. Anyone want to send her a message? Sarah Pouchin. MP. Can't find her. She ain't coming up. Oh, yes, she is. I ain't going to follow her alone. But there she is, right? She's just a wrong one. An absolute wrong one, right? So all start sending her independent emails, right, saying no to digital ID. Because the next thing they're going to do, right, they're going to approve central banking digital currency. Go and have a look at our website, which is the EnglishConstitutionParty.com, and there is a digital Bill of Rights forbidding all of this, right? So you keep your English Bill of Rights, and then you get an additional Bill of Rights from the people, right? Just letting you know. So let me have a quick look. You think she's a complete lemon? Let me tell you something. I've always said, what did I say to you, right? That I could walk into that Hustings, what he had, have a chat to people, walk in there, stand up on the stage. She needed 3 bodyguards. Why? Because for 20 years, she'd been banging up Scousers, right? And once you put it out, that magistrate, you know, the really horrible one, she's going to be at that hustings, right? Which is exactly what happened, right? And she needed protection, right? Unlike people like us, apart from me getting abused occasionally by fucking idiots in social clubs, right, who have been brainwashed the other way, right? To think that the Labour Party are the governors, right? Oh, we protect working people. Why are you fucking unemployed then, right? And why are you paying so much fucking tax, you donut? All of that is in there. So I'm just telling it as it is. Let me have a quick look. Who's that one from? I'd be comforting to think that millions would push back on the digital ID, but unfortunately, I think the reality is it's just as seen in the jobs. The sheep will yeah, no, that's it. And if they won't do it one way, they're doing it another way, by the way. Because I've got this is all set up and it has to be set up for the government, they're now asking me for digital for my identification for what I've sent up, you know, with the party and all that. And all they'll do it via corporations through the back door, and then the corporations will upload your information. It's exactly what they're doing with, you know, if you leave somewhere, they've tried it with me. They said, you need to give us a folder address. I said, I don't need to give you anything. I don't owe you any money. Then this is to a number of different places. So I don't owe you any money. I don't have to give you anything. Oh, but we put it on this data. Fuck your database, right? I don't have to give you my forwarding address. But that's what all of these external people do, right? So you've got to be really careful with what's going on. But I thought I'd show you that, right? So now you know, and there's lots of things that are important. So don't forget, we've still got this case pending. I'm still reading up on the law. I don't know I can't really start fully writing my arguments for appeal yet. And then, I mean, I don't even know if we're going to have the money to be able to appeal it. But we do intend, I could get this to the Supreme Court, right? And I don't guarantee, I can't guarantee you that the Supreme Court's going to say yeah, but my arguments are for the people, right? And about separation of powers and about the common law statute and what we should be doing. Graham, I see they have shit in 10 illegals in your old gaff. They probably have. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they do that, to be fair with you. And I'm not just saying that. Even the bloke who lived opposite said, I don't know who's going to go in there. He's probably going to get a whole family of fucking Afghanistanis, right? There you go. That's one of those things. But let me just show you what the actual tonight was going to be. Do you all remember the metric martyr case? And it was really important. Someone else has said today, you know, we do have a right to keep and bear arms, but it's been impliedly repealed, right? So what I'm doing is just showing you this because it was a really important case and it's still valid law today, right? So what I'm going to do is bring that up. That's on, God knows what that was. Let me have a quick look. Enjoy the show. I don't know who that was. He just sent me an email. But don't forget to keep sending this stuff out. Hi, Graham. I sent you emails again this afternoon. Have they arrived? Yeah, I've seen your emails. I'm looking through it. Just to make sure, to Middlesex man, I'm not ignoring this. Just that I've been running around doing, and the emails just go bing, 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 and then I end up losing focus on it. But what's important is the judge that made them comments extrajudicially. He didn't make he made very strong comments. And if you look into the history of it, which I sort of have, I have looked into the history of it. He was the judge who then helped create an electoral committee to start having a look at things that they was doing wrong. And a lot of what he wanted taken up or his representations to the committee, they did do quite a few of them things, but not everything. But let me just go back and try and sort this out for you. Oh yeah, I was nearly going to swear again then. Here we go. Right, so I'm going to share this on the screen. I'm not sure if you're seeing this properly. I'm not even sure if I'm on the screen, right? But what you should see is this case, right? So it was Lord Justice Laws and Justice Crane, Steve Thoburn, and Sunderland City Council, Colin Hunt, and London Borough of Hackney, Julian Harman and John Dove, and Cornwall County Council, Peter Collins, and London Borough of Sutton. It was a big case and it was constitutional, right? So I'm going to take you all the way down. The whole thing is a good read. I've read through this case so many times, it's unreal, right? I can almost tell you, talks about the common law. It talks about what's going on in the background, right? But this is the particular one I want to make sure that you understand, right? And I'll go through more of it. But you need to understand that what I talk about is real law, not the bullshit that's coming from. This is common law, right? But again, paragraph 63, which is this paragraph here, right? Ordinary statutes may be impliedly repealed. Constitutional statutes may not. That's it. There's the statement there from the judge, right? So again, for the repeal of constitutional act or the abrogation of a fundamental right to be effected by statute, the court would apply this test. Is it shown that the legislature's actual, not imputed, constructive or presumed intention was to effect the repeal or abrogation? I think the test could only be met by express words in the latter statute, right? So one of the reasons why we need to bring a case about what they did with the English Bill of Rights, not once but twice, because especially in 1947, right? So I just want everyone to understand what's going on here. They are hijacking England and destroying England, right? We're not talking about Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, or Cornwall. We're talking about England. They intend to regionalise England and destroy England and our constitution. We had a constitutionalist in justice laws that said you cannot do this, and this is still law. It come from the appeal courts, right? So again, ordinary statutes may be impliedly repealed, constitutional statutes may not. It's one of the reasons why they had to do a referendum. They repealed it, but they should have made it void, right? The European Communities Act of 1972, right? So again, we were stitched up by people. Listen, it's not rocket science. It is not rocket science. The difference between voiding or abolishing a law, a statute, and repealing it, right? The legal distinction is quite clear, right? And everyone should know if you void something, it's as if it's never been law, right? Any stare decisis and precedents was set in relation to that law are no longer valid. But if you repeal it, they still are valid up until that point, right? But they can also, some of them decisions can still be relied on, but you would be in a serious grey area of the law by doing that after repeal. But because it's been repealed, then that statute has no authority anymore, right? But if it's made void, it never had any authority. Therefore, everything that was authority under it is null and void, which is why you need to null and void. The only way of getting England out of this now is to null and void the acts of union, right? And if you don't do that, you'll end up with the same problems you had when you come out of the European Union, when you repealed the European Communities Act of 1972. That's why it should have been made void, not repealed. But does everyone understand that paragraph? It's completely, utterly, and very, very important. So I'm going to go from the top and read paragraph 60, 61, 62, 63 and 64, right? And there's many other parts of this, but I'm not going to go through the whole judgment. These are probably the most important parts of it, right? And this is in our case that we've put. And I think that they was a little bit concerned that some of the law that I put in there is very powerful law. And just because you're a layperson standing in front of two judges, I mean, everyone see who was up there. One of them literally felt the bits as he got out the door. So paragraph 60, the common law has in recent years allowed, or rather created, exceptions to the doctrine of implied repeal. A doctrine which was always the common law's own creation, right, or creature. There are now classes or types of legislative provision which cannot be repealed by mere implication. These instances are given and can only be given by our own courts, to which the scope and nature of parliamentary sovereignty are ultimately confided. The courts may say, have said, that there are certain circumstances in which the legislature may only enact what it desires to enact if it does so by express or at any rate specific provision. The courts have in effect so held in the field of European law itself, in the factor-fame case, and this is critical for the present discussion, by this means, as I shall seek to explain, the courts have found their way through the impasse seemingly created by two supremacies. Right now, to me, there isn't. It's not about supremacy of Parliament for us. It is in effect supremacy of Parliament, but it's the supremacy of the English Bill of Rights, which has a supremacy clause in it, right? Which tells you no one else can have supremacy over us, which is why the European Union entry was unlawful and unconstitutional. 61. The present state of our domestic law is such that substantive community rights prevail over the express terms of any domestic law, including primary legislation made or passed after the coming into the force of the European Communities Act. Even in the fact, now, if you replace that with the Bill of Rights, you've got the same argument. Even in the face of plain inconsistency between the two, this is the effect of factor-fame number 1, 1990, blah, blah, blah. To understand the critical passage in Lord Bridges' speech, it's first convenient to repeat part of the European Communities Act, Section 2.4, right? The provision that may be made under subsection 2 above includes any such provision of any such extent as might be made by Act of Parliament, and any actment passed or to be passed other than one contained in this Act, this part of this Act, shall be construed as have effect subject to the foregoing provisions of the section, right? And it goes into a bit more detail. There's another big case, which is the Merchant Shipping Act 1988. So there was no question of an implied pro tanto repeal of the European Communities Act 1972 by the latter Act of 1988. On the contrary, the Act of 1988 took effect subject to community rights incorporated into our law by the ECA. Now, what I'm telling you is that means if you can transport that argument to the Bill of Rights, you can transport that argument to the Act of Settlement 1701 because it was an extension. It's well known in law. That was an extension of the English Bill of Rights. But the English Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Rights, the trilogy, the Declaration of Reasons, it was the intent of Parliament to give us those rights forever, right? They could never be taken away. Where does this leave the constitutional position which I have stated? Mr. Shimpton would say that factor-fame number 1 was wrongly decided, and since the point was not argued, there is no scope within the limits of our law of precedent to depart from it, to hold that implied repeal made by on the European Communities Act as readily as upon any other statute. I think that would be wrong, a wrong turning, right? And he was right to say that. Why was he right to say it? Because it was regarded as a constitutional statute, right? Because in effect it had been given away by a referendum, and that was the people's vote to join. Even though it was crooked in 1975, when they first did it in 1972, everyone should have been up in arms and said this is unconstitutional, right? And get out of it, right? But they didn't. Anyway, cut a long story short, he goes in and he talks about various other cases, and from this further insight below, we should recognise hierarchy of acts of Parliament as if it were ordinary statutes and constitutional statutes. The two categories must be distinguished on a principled basis. In my opinion, a constitutional statute is one which A, conditions the legal relationship between citizen and state in some general overarching manner, or B, enlarges or diminishes the scope of what we would now regard as fundamental constitutional rights. A, and B are of necessity closely related. It is difficult to think of an instance of A that is not of an instance of B. The special status of constitutional statutes follows the special status of constitutional rights. Examples are the Magna Carta, the Bill of Rights of 1689, the Acts of Union, the Reform Acts, which distributed and enlarged the franchise. The HRA, the Scotland Act 1998, and the Government of Wales Act 1988, which was basically part of the European Union's way of dividing up the United Kingdom and destroying it, and then finally regionalise England, right? The European Communities Act clearly belongs to this family. It incorporated the whole corpus of substantive community rights and obligations, right? There are no community rights in effect because they are all qualifiable, right? Bar three, I think that three of them rights are not qualifiable. In other words, you can never take them away. So we've traded in 13 rights and our constitution and our common law rights for a far superior legal system, right? Which is administrative law, and we're not interested in it. And gave overriding domestic effect to the judicial and administrative machinery of the community law. Administrative machinery of the community law. It may there has never been a statute having such profound effects on so many dimensions of our daily lives, instituted by a foreign government. The ECA is, by force of the common law, a constitutional statute, by force of the common law, right? And again, it goes into more detail in that main paragraph. Tell me if you want me to read that out, and I will. But this development of the common law regarding constitutional rights and, as I would say, constitutional statutes is highly beneficial, right? It is beneficial. People don't realise it, right? So again, when I go and do, let me go back onto my main screen a second. Let me come off of stop sharing, right? Are you all with this so far, right? It is not just covered by this book, right? Which is Halsby's Laws of England, the common law, right? 4th edition, constitutional law, right? Packed with information to tell you that you have common law rights, right? Most powerful rights that you can have are the common law rights, right? And then again, I know I do this on a number of occasions. You've got another one, Halsby's Statutes, another group of law books, right? And again, 4th edition, volume number 10, constitutional law. So for all them people that tell you ain't got a constitution, there's your constitution in 2 books. Everyone who says to me, right, what is our constitution? Where can I go and read it, right? Well, the article is, on the left on your screen is the common law, volume 8, right? Halsby's Laws of England. And on the right is the statutes of the realm, right? Which are your constitutional rights. It tells you what they are. And that's number 10. It's a fascinating read on both sides of them books, right? The problem that you've got is that the current legal system, the current judges, the current solicitors, the current barristers are not trained in constitutional law to the extent that they should be. There's 1,100 years of legal precedents that have been set and statutes, etc., and things that have gone on that shouldn't have happened, right? Because the people should have been standing up and protecting this. And one of the biggest ones is the British Nationality Act of 1947, right? It just so happens that in 1947, they also repealed by stealth. It wasn't even, it was, they buried it in legislation, which is the part that made them, meaning Parliament, right? That's where they get parliamentary sovereignty from. And it is, I believe, it is very apparent that we lost the war. So within 2 years of us losing the war, all signed and civil, in effect losing the war to the Soviet Union, the communists had taken control of this country and then started to dissect us, right? That is exactly what's happened, right? And it's people like me that are going around telling people what's actually gone on. I think Trump gets it in a big way, right? That man's got an IQ of 180, and there's a book here somewhere of someone else who wrote a book. I'm not sure where it is. But I can tell you, I don't know where it is, but I'll have to find it in a minute. What's that one? Michael Shrimpton wrote a book, and in that book he explained that the European Union was not Nazi, it's communist. And in that book he explained that the communist regime, and it was mainly Germany, had infiltrated the UK at every level, right? Whether you describe it as East Germany or the communists of Germany, because the communists of Germany had actually won the war, believe it or not, right? And there was communists in Germany. And again, I just want to make sure that you're aware of this, right? Because I don't want you thinking, anyway, I'm not a fascist and I'm not a communist, I'm an Englishman. And the English laws tell you quite blatantly, let me see if I can read this out to you again. I'll repeat some of this because it's so important, right? Paragraph 1310, right? And it's about the civil service. In addition, civil servants may be subjected to a purge procedure and positive vetting procedure. The purge procedure is designed to prevent persons with communist or fascist associations being employed on work of the nature of which is vital to the security of the state, right? What's happened to all our industries? What's happened to our core industries? As David Ellis said time and time again, there was a beautiful video he did maybe 10 or 15 years ago, right? Where he said our steel industry has been destroyed. Our aircraft industry has been destroyed. We can't make tanks. We won't be able to do this. We won't be able to do that. Not that you need tanks now. But all of our industries have been stripped away. They've destroyed our coal industry. They're absolutely destroying our fishing industries, right? You've only got to go and look at all these different things. Does everyone remember when Farage sat there and sat with a fisherman of Brixham in Devon, right? Oh, this is what we're going to do. Listen, them people can't earn a fucking living anymore because of what you and your regime have done to them, right? And yet they're being conned and conned again. Farage is not only a fraud, he is Benedict Arnold, right? Everyone needs to understand that term. Benedict Arnold was paid by the British to turn on George Washington, right? And he did. And he became a traitor. He had to leave America. They smuggled him out of America. They got him back to England and everyone turned their backs on him. Why? Because he was a Mason. And he stitched up another Mason, which was George Washington. So even though the British on this side was on the other side of the fence of the war, they said, you betrayed a brother, right? And they all turned their backs. He had to go to Canada. He went to Canada and they all turned their backs on him. The Masons again, right? They said, you don't betray a brother. And that's exactly what he did. Then he ended up coming back to England, right? He's now buried in Battersea in South London in an unmarked grave with the woman that was stuck into him as a 16-year-old as part of the deal, basically. So they're both buried in an unmarked grave in Battersea, right? That's what happens when you commit treason. So again, last night we was talking about various things. I don't want to go on the subject tonight is just reiterating to you that we do have a constitution, that we do have a written constitution, that we have a common law constitution, right, that can control it, and we have separation of powers. That is exactly what President Trump is bringing back to the United States of America, right? He is dislodging these people, right? He's taken them out of the game, and now they're going to start the prosecutions. People keep talking about sedition. Sedition was removed by Tony Blair from this country, and that's an attack on the government, right? The attack on the crown and the separation of powers has been going on in this country since at least 1815, right? And it's us. We're the only group of people waking people up to this. You must fly the English flag. You must say to people, I am English, right? Not British. I haven't got the legal fiction. I don't accept the statutory nationality of British because I have no rights as a British citizen, right? But I have common law and statutory rights as an Englishman, an Englishwoman, and they are our inherited rights for centuries that we are passing on to the future generations. That is what your message is to everyone, right? And that's what we've got to keep pushing out there. So again, we're coming up to 10 minutes to. I'm going to be doing a bit more reading again in a minute and see if I can. Every time I go to try and tidy up something, right, a parcel comes and I ended up getting, I cut boxes and then a load more come in and I've cut a load more and then I'm not getting everywhere where I want to get. But I found some stuff today in some other boxes, not boxes, but bags upstairs. But I will eventually sort myself right out, hopefully. I've ordered myself a Sunday dinner at the local pub that's 1 minute away. They've said at 4:30 your dinner will be in here. We bring it from the other pub, we cook it at the other pub, and then we bring it round here, which is 10 minutes. The other pub's 10 minutes away. Then we bring it in and so I can have a pint of Guinness and have a Sunday dinner in my local right next door to me. I'm like, touch. I can't do that every week. Can't afford it. But there you go. Third time greetings, Chuck Money. Who else is out there? Chuck Money, Sheepdog, Chuck Money, Ancient English, Jay Faulkner Call, I'm English, not British. How you doing? Jason Peter Reardon, loving this, Graham. Higher. Let me also. Neil 56 sounds good, DD. Let me tell you something now. I am energized by this wonderful place, right? I look around here. You walk down the road, no one's got their doors locked. People are polite. You walk up the road and people say hello to you. It's like being in England again, right? And again, you haven't got, there's no mosques knocking out whatever they're knocking out from their mosques. So it is fantastic. Juicy and Lucy Graham will be speaking. Oh yeah, like really important, everyone. We need to put the links out there. Send me a link if you can, and I'll put it out there. So let me pin this because it's important. I am going to be speaking, and hopefully there'll be a few people there. I am going to be speaking at the Rise Above Live in is that Fish? Does that say? August Bank Holiday. Tickets still available. Rise Above TV, blah, 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 blah. You have to go to that link. So if you click on that link, if you live in that area, give us a shout where it is, the area again. If you can tell me where it is on our website, I'll go and find it. I think, let's have a look and see if I can find the English Constitution. This is the Constitution Society. Right, and we need to start ramping up this thing again. Hang on, community volunteers, social media, counties, English Soul, Ron Cornhill's be hearing about us. Where would it be? Up and coming events calendar. Let me see if I can click on that. And there, so we've got one person doing the society website and everyone. There it is there. So if you click on that, let me just go show you where you can find that on our website. Let me have a look. Crossover events calendar. Hopefully I'll put that on there. I've got to try and get myself another laptop and I can hopefully join two screens up to it and build this little studio element. And this chair that I'm sitting on absolutely destroys my rear. Rise Above Live in the Flesh Part Dukes. I don't know what that means. Here it goes. So it's on your screen. You can go and get that from the events, the link to it. So I will put that on there as well. So if anyone wants to go and have a look at it, and hopefully I'll be reading it out in about 2 seconds. Let me go back to my original. Where is it? There it is. I've got to find it. So if I click on that, what does it take me to? Hopefully, view tab. Rise Above Live. We need to get this out there. So it's Friday, August the 22nd at 5 p.m. through to August the 25th. I'm there on the Saturday, and I believe my function starts at, can't remember what time it starts, but 1 o'clock for about 2 hours, right? And we'll get there. So you can click on that. If you click on that, it goes info and tickets. It's called the Hotel Celebrity, 47 Jervis Road, Bournemouth, BH1 3DD. Lucy and Juicy are going to come along there and help me set up, because I've got to set up 3 frames and then set everything else out, and then hopefully I've got a little table there, put the books on there, and people understand what it is that we're talking about, right? But there it is. Who have we got in there? And you will have me talking about anything you want to be talking about, but mainly about the Constitution. There it is. And evidently it's got speed dating down there and all sorts of weird stuff. Really? So there it is. And I can't have a drink beforehand, so remember, is that one of the worst photos? That's one of my fat shaming photos there. So hopefully I've lost a bit of weight since then. But if you want to go on that, there it is, Rise Above Radio, and we need to get as many people there as possible. But we're going to be doing our own seminars, and we really need to be looking at that. Stop sharing. So again, make sure you're all going out and doing that. There's that one. I'll put another one out there. So I just told you everything about that. I'm going to try and advertise that as much as possible. But we need to be doing our own ones, right? Because that's partly funding me, and it funds us. Listen, I don't spend any money, right, on luxuries or anything else. I don't need a yacht. My yacht's already parked in Portugal. It's not mine. It's Tim's, but he says it's mine. He says, "No, go on. You can say it's yours. I'll have one." Right? Most gorgeous looking yacht you've ever seen in your life, right? So there you go. English Constitution Party. Jason Wilkin I think it's Bournemouth. Yeah, it is. It's not that far. Hi, Trace and everyone else. Cockney Girl, West Ham United. We're going to be sorting out a few things, but we do need to be kicking into this. And I'm going to be setting up as much as possible. So I'm going to need help from anyone in Devon and anyone outside of Devon on social media. But people in Devon, because I'm going to start setting this up so people start to understand who and what we are. And again, without saying too much, I'm going to be standing in the next general election in this area, right? And we need to make sure people know who we are, right? So I've got to start getting that information out there and telling them what we are. So if you want to know who the English Constitution Party are, or what we actually represent, apart from the other side of the society, we have no whips. We are an English brand about English rights and customs and taking England back, right? That's all we're about. So if you ever wanted to see an independence brand in politics, that is exactly what we do, right? It's not like any other political party. That's what people don't understand, right? If you are a member and you are standing for your constituents, so if you was an independent candidate, you get the brand of England, right? And you're telling people, I stand for you, not a political party. I stand for England, your constitution and common law rights, and I protect you from the power of the state. That's it. That's what this party is about, right? There couldn't be a better system. So you're going back to the common law union, not the statutory union. So any independents out there, you should be absolutely scrambling for this, right? Because when they start talking about digital ID and, well, we're already being tracked and all that nonsense. No, we shouldn't be. That's the whole point. You're a member of parliament. You should be telling them we shouldn't be tracked. And if they turn around and say, well, you've got nothing to hide, what a load of bollocks, right? Absolute bollocks, right? So there you go. Check out Graham's what? Chatting with LSB, Chris and Bob Seth. Yeah, put that one out there again because people love that, right? So all I'm saying to all them people, right, especially in Devon now, right? Devon is so crucially important to England via the English Constitution, it's always been rebellious, right? They've always been proper grafters, right? We need to get the people of Devon rocking, right? To say, like, well, we're going to take back Devon, right? And literally all the councillors, etc., in Devon should be saying, we're this, right? We represent the people, and here is our brand. Our brand is we are independent, right? We are independent councillors, but with a brand of England. And the only two flags you should be flying, the only two, is the English flag and the Devon flag. That's it, right? Nothing else. Not the British flag. The British is exactly the same as the Soviets, right? And once people understand it, they'll flock this way, right? So we've got to try and find funding. We've got to try and get business people supporting us. We support the farmers, right? But what do? They see England and English and they believe the bullshit that the British have created to say that we're racist, that we're this, we're that, right? We're not that, right? We're about protecting your inheritance. That's it. And that includes the farms. Everyone got what I'm saying? We're now coming up to 9 o'clock. Any questions? Give us a shout. I've left that on there for quite some time, so I'm going to bring that back down. Any questions? Do you think this looked better, or did you think it looked better with the English bit at the top? And do you think I should adjust it? You're the audience. You tell me what you want to say. I liked it with the English because it by the way, that what it is. Do you all know what this is, don't you? Let me see if I can bring it down without dropping it. You all know what this is, don't you? This was bought for me by Tom Pear, right? This is single malt whiskey from Norfolk, England, the Norfolk distiller. It's called the English Distiller. And this whiskey won, listen, the global award for single malt whiskey. It beat everyone. It beat Scotland, it beat Wales, it beat Irish whiskey, it beat Tennessee whiskey, it beat all of them. Single malt whiskey, best in the world. Where did it come from? England. Where did it come from in England? Norfolk. You should be proud of England, and we're still beating the world, right? And we can do it again. And it's you who should be doing this, right? All you've got to do is assist us. Right, there you go. Put that back up there. We do love the farmers. Ancient English. Hiya, Rumsey blessings. Jason, Peter, Reardon. Any power given to the EU is treason, Graham. Yeah, no, it is. Apollophilite. The farmers are the way to go. They will support once they understand. No, I agree. They will. But again, there's a few. I've got to get out and go up to it. There's a couple of places I've got to go, and I've got to start livening the farmers up, and they've got to start listening. The only way you're going to get them listening if you do a seminar and say, "Right, just listen to what I'm telling you." Yeah, no, single malt whiskey is lovely, but the English single malt whiskey is the best. Right? It tastes gorgeous. If you would like to meet like-minded people or take charge of an email group, please email Tracy Palmer at EnglishConstitutionParty.com. Yeah, we've got to start livening right up now. And again, all I'm going to say is we'll keep doing as much as we possibly can. That's it. I am going to say good night, God bless to everyone. I'm hoping I've explained some things to you and why it's so important that we keep working, pushing forward and making this work. We've got quite a few on Rumble. We've got quite a few on YouTube. Don't forget tomorrow night. I'm no doubt that something is going to happen tomorrow in America. I can't. I've just got a feeling something's going to happen over the weekend. Right, and then as we move further in, you're going to see potentially some arrests, right? And again, remember, don't worry about sedition. That's against the government. Treason is not pardonable, right? You cannot pardon treason. You cannot pardon the king for treason or anyone else. And if the king can't be pardoned for treason, no one else can. And all of that was all of the king's rights were passed over to the president, right? So again, all the prerogatives of the king and the crown were passed, because it's a republic, to President Trump. And when they attack President Trump, they attack not just him personally, but the nation, and they can prove it all. Right? And that's where their problem lies. And it doesn't matter who Obama is. Right? He took an oath, and that oath was an allegiance to the United States of America. That's unconstitutional what he's done. If they prove that it's about treason, it's not about sedition. Everyone started talking about sedition. It's not about sedition, it's about treason, right? And they will refer to English law. Remember what I said. They are going to refer to English law. That's it. So good night. God bless. Who's that? Rocco Ray. Where are you? In Thailand. Couldn't sleep, so I opened up my PC. Well done, son. All the best to you out there in Thailand. So again, don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. What have I been telling you for years? Don't forget to go and have a look at the video on this channel that was banned on YouTube, which was the documentary FISA, the FISA conspiracy, FISA, the FISA conspiracy. Go and watch it, search for it, watch it again, and you'll understand. I was talking about that years ago. I've done a documentary about it years ago. So everything I'm telling you is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, right? I'm about you. I'm not one of them. I don't want to be one of them, right? My job is to protect you. So the Constitution is the solution. Again, I'm just going to show you my T-shirt. You like my T-shirt. So if I walk around here saying, all right, mate, can I have a pint of Guinness? And you see if you get snarled at. Most people don't snarl at you, right? So anyone who says, listen, working people shouldn't pay tax unless again, it's the Hong Kong tax system that's kicking in. And what is the Hong Kong tax system? It was English. There you go. I'm off. Good night. God bless. See you tomorrow night. 8 o'clock live, Friday night special. We'll see what happens, and I'll be bringing some more information. But don't forget, everyone, Reform UK ain't it. Whatever that other mob, Ben Halib, that ain't it. You're being led by the British label. That ain't no good to you whatsoever. That's it. Good night.